Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to address the one thing that everybody's talking about this morning, and that is this morning, afternoon, and I'm sure tonight as well, and that is the brawl between the Steelers and the Browns on Thursday Night Football. And mainly the brawl was between Myles Garett and Mason Rudolph, and of course everyone else gets involved somehow, some way. And I want to state real quickly that there is a difference between protecting someone and inflicting additional damage that is not needed. Regardless of if Myles Garett had thought that Mason Rudolph didn't like the tackle, Myles Garett was this and that. You have to give Mason Rudolph some of the blame because he did initiate it a little bit. I'm not saying that he was pounding Garrett to the term of self-defense, but clearly Myles Garett took it out of control, out of proportion, and there are no excuses for that action. And trust me, I was going to say this anyway, but the NFL had made the decision to suspend Garrett for the rest of the season, which I think is right, and playoffs, which obviously the Browns won't make the playoffs, they're not going to make the playoffs. And what they should do is suspend him for an additional 3-4 games next year. Hit him where it hurts. First off, Myles Garett is a detriment to his team. He is one of those players that has been aggressive, extremely, and way too much aggressive, constantly getting penalties and hurting his team. I understand he has 11.5 sacks and he's a great defensive player, but at some point you have to play the game right. You have to play the game right. The line was crossed when Mason Rudolph went back after Myles Garett. Myles Garett took his helmet off and he proceeded to swing his helmet and hit Mason Rudolph square in the head. It is one thing to defend yourself, push, shove, call names, throw someone to the ground, but to take off their helmet and to smash them in the head with it, you are using a weapon to inflict damage. You are not defending yourself. You are using a weapon to inflict damage. There are so many different ways that this could have gone, that could have been so bad. Myles Garett is lucky that he's waking up this morning under his own will. Because if he had connected or he had hit some type of damage on Mason Rudolph where it would have inflicted lifelong or permanent damage, God forbid, this is dramatic, but God forbid he had died, Myles Garett, not only would his career be over, his life would be over. People don't think about it, and I understand that people get heated and listen, it's a whole different world. Even sometimes when I was in gym class, I would get heated playing a game. Listen, it's football. It happens. But there is no reason that somebody has to take their helmet off and smash somebody in the head with it. There is absolutely no reason for that, and he connected with him square on the head. And then another Browns player comes in and shoves Rudolph to the ground, and one of them's kicking him. The Cleveland Browns are currently showing you that among them is one of the most classless teams in the NFL, without question. They most certainly deserve to be 3-6, and they're 3-6 because of they can't coexist, they have no chemistry, and the team is not good. The team is not good. Okay? And let me give you an example. But before I do that, let's say this. Mike Tomlin did the right thing. He probably handled this the best. After the game ends, everybody's hot, everybody's heated. He didn't answer any questions, and he said he wasn't going to. That is right. That is what you got to do. When something like this happens, you let the smoke clear, and if you choose to do so, the next day you address the media. You can address them on and say, look, this is what happened, this is how I feel, and we're not going any further about this. Next question. The media, of course, being who they are, is going to continue to pursue the answer that they're looking for, or just to get a headline. Mike Tomlin said he's not talking about it, and that's good. Baker Mayfield said that it's inexcusable and needs to be suspended. First smart thing Baker Mayfield said all year. Coach didn't say much. Myles Garett after the game was disappointed in himself. He said he was foolish, so at least he was recognizing it. doesn't make it okay whatsoever. And Anobi also got a game suspension, and I believe that Pouncey got a 3-game suspension. Anybody on the Steelers that was trying to get him off of him or punching him, by default they have to get suspended. Now, I don't think it's fair, and I've never been one of those people that thought that if the person hits you first and you defend yourself, you get suspended. The reality of it is they initiated into violent contact. So, right then and there, that is deemed punishable by disciplinary action. Now, whether it's right or not, that's up to you, but if you threw a punch, kick, elbow, helmet, whatever, you need to be suspended. It doesn't have to be 10 games, it could be a game, you need to be suspended. And like I was saying, the Browns are among the most classless, the way that they've been demonstrated people. Baker Mayfield has done all of the talking this year and none of the walking. He may have a bright future, and I like Baker Mayfield. I think he talks too much. He talks too much. He has 9 touchdowns and 12 interceptions this year, and he has gifted 2 elite wide receivers in the NFL. Don't give me nothing about the offensive line. Odell Beckham Jr., in my eyes, has improved a lot. He has improved a lot. I don't know, did we hear anything from Odell Beckham Jr. on this incident? His behavior in general has improved a lot. Stats, he's not performing, he's underperforming. That is what it is. Besides the watch issue earlier in the year, you haven't really heard too much from Beckham on the negative side of things, and that's good. But again, still, Beckham he's a ticking time bomb. And I just think that he will explode once again when the timing is right. Kareem Hunt missed the first 8 games of the NFL season because of a domestic situation. Detriment to the team, negative energy. Baker Mayfield hasn't really helped the team, negative energy. Myles Garett can't control his temper, disrespectful, classless on the football field, negative energy. The coach, he's not good. Freddie Kitchens is not good, negative energy. The Browns have some of the best talent in the NFL, and they are one of the worst teams in the NFL. There are too many head cases on this team, and I know so many people were saying 10, and people were getting greedy and saying 11-5. The Browns do not have that chemistry. If it is too good to be true, it probably is. It probably is. They have been massively underwhelming. Baker Mayfield's been underwhelming. Odell Beckham Jr.'s been underwhelming. Jarvis Landry's been hit or miss. The run game's been fantastic. Defense, Myles Garett's been fantastic up to this point. But again, it had nothing to do with the game. The Browns were 2 touchdowns ahead. There were 8 seconds left in the game. Why are you fighting? Why are you fighting? You don't like to tackle? Say something post-game. Address him. This got completely blown out of proportion, and this did not need to be. I am not at all saying Mason Rudolph is innocent, because he's not. But I cannot sit here and say that there's anybody that has higher guilt than Myles Garett. There's nobody that has higher guilt than Myles Garett. There's no excuse for that. You are trying to do damage and bodily harm on a more extreme case to someone when it is not necessary. Never in my life have I seen such a classless move. The best thing I remember is Don Zimmer getting thrown to the ground by Martinez. And that was nowhere near as bad as this. Nowhere near. Yes, he was an older man. That was disrespectful. The NFL, without question, made the right decision. He should not see the light of day for the rest of this year. And we'll see where they go from here. But that's really that. It is not acceptable. Again, there's players on the Steelers that are guilty. There's players on the Browns that are guilty. But Myles Garett took it too far. And again, it wasn't like he punched him and knocked him out, because that is a fight. But to take your helmet off, any of you have ever been hit in the head with a helmet, you know what that feels like. And try to do that. Nobody else on the field did anything remotely as bad as that was. Stomping on somebody's classless too, but it's not even so much the fact that it was a fight. It was the fact of what Myles Garett did in the fight, and how the Browns players especially the one that charged Rudolph and just shoved him to the ground. Why? Rudolph was not even retaliating at that point. He was looking around and saying, "What the hell is this? What's going on?" So, yeah. So now the Browns are without Myles Garett for the rest of the year. They will miss him desperately on defense. They are. I don't know what it's going to be like on the team when he's done for the year anyway. But I don't know what it's going to be like on the team. What's their energy moving forward? Because the craziest thing is that Myles Garett will not be there, and it is for his safety. He will not be. Well, he might be there, but at the Steelers and Browns game in Pittsburgh in 2 weeks' time, that is going to be the hottest matchup and the most fierce football game you may have seen played in a long time in 2 weeks. That is all I got for you, but I also want to mention one more thing. Two different things that would have made the situation different. One, if the game was in Pittsburgh, I don't think Myles Garett would get out alive. And two, if this had happened to Tom Brady. And I don't mean to be one of those people that hate on Tom Brady. But that was that, and I just feel like I had to address that before I went into anything else. Absolutely inexcusable, and they're going to have a massive change in the Cleveland Browns scenario.